Hey, what's up guys? It's Justin again with USA Optics, and right now I'm going to be going over the Pulsar Axion XM30. That's right, this is not to be confused with the vaping devices that you see your kids use these days. This is an actual lightweight handheld thermal monocular. This thing is small, it's compact, it's got all different kinds of features and will fit in nearly any pocket that you put it in except for the one in your wife's pants. In this video we're going to be going over some of the features and functions as well as real world application. I'm going to show you what different animals look like at different distances. That way you can get a feel for yourself how this device functions. Coming up. Alright guys, now let's go over some of the features for this device. First off, the sensor size is 320 by 240, and I know that kind of sounds small, but it's made up for by the fact that it's got a 12 micron core and a 1024 by 768 display size. That display size is almost twice the resolution of the Helion and the Trail models. So that extra added bit of clarity gives you the clarity that you need in order to identify, especially at like longer ranges. So that's a nifty little treat. It's got a 50 hertz refresh rate, which keeps things moving very smoothly. If you're in a moving vehicle and you want to scan, you can do so relatively easily, as long as trees aren't too close, or if you're trying to scan a big field or something. It's got onboard recording. Onboard storage nets you, the 16 gigabytes nets you about 5.5 to 6 hours. I've gotten about 3.5 hours of footage from it in one night, and I still had quite a bit to go, so I think it's pretty accurate. As far as detection goes, it's rated for detecting a human-sized figure out at 17 to 1800 yards. For identification purposes, you're looking at 150 to 300 yards. Can also be a little bit further than that, depending on how well you know thermal equipment, how used you are to it. So some of the exterior functions is, this is the focus. This is the focus wheel. You turn this and you focus, and then you turn this and you can adjust the ocular focus as well for the display inside the device. The buttons are laid out very neat and clean, and I like the fact that they're very simple. It's just got a power button, and it's got the menu button, and it's got up and down arrows to navigate the menu. Each one of these buttons has their own function. While the device is on, you have to hold the power button for 3 seconds or for whatever in order to shut the actual device off, but it turns back on really quickly. It's like a second to a second and a half, and I'll show you guys that later. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the battery. The battery lasts about 2 to 3 hours. For some of you, that should be totally fine because of how quickly it turns off and turns on. You shouldn't have to worry about that too much, especially if you're sitting in one spot. But for me, I walk around and I move, and I'm constantly on the move, constantly scanning, so I burn through batteries like a kid in a candy store. So there's a button on the front here, and you just push that button and it releases the lock on the battery, and that will shut the device off unless if you have a second connection to like an extra cell phone battery pack. You can connect that right here. This is pretty much, this is the battery right here, and you just take the battery out, put it back in, and you're good to go. Between firing it up and replacing the battery, it takes like 3 seconds or something like that. So getting back to the cell phone battery, this will not charge the big cell phone battery pack will not charge the actual device. It will just run off of the power of that battery. So if you've got a dead battery, you can't disconnect the battery pack from the device. But if you do disconnect it and you've got a full battery, or if you've been saving the battery by plugging it into a bigger battery, then you just disconnect it and it won't actually shut the device off. It will keep it running, which is really nice. Okay, since we've gone over the exterior specifications and capabilities of the device, now let's go over how it works internally. Alright guys, I'm out here set up on the edge of the property, and I've got some neighbors' cows over in the next pasture. We're just going to film them real quick, give you guys an idea of what they look like.
Alright guys, I've dubbed over this because the wind started to pick up pretty badly. So if you hit the menu button, it brings up the brightness, the contrast, the current zoom that it's in, and the stereometric rangefinder, which I don't find to be too useful, but some of you might be better at it than I am. If you hold the menu button, it'll bring up this menu selection here, and the first selection is the 3 different presets. You have the identification, the forest, and the mountain mode. You'll probably find your own combination of brightness and contrast based off of if you're hunting in the woods or if you're hunting out in an open field. Now let's go to the color modes. Your main two color modes are white hot and black hot. Red hot can be useful sometimes, but it's not working right now because the objects are too far away. Now I find my eye getting pretty fatigued after looking into the colored modes for too long, so I just stick with white hot and black hot. And in my experience, white hot has been best for hunting in the woods where there's trees around, and black hot has been best for hunting in an open field, as you're seeing right now. But that, again, is just my personal preference and my experience. Everybody has their own. The next selection in the menu is calibration mode. All thermals have 3 different calibration modes, which is automatic, semi-automatic, and manual. If I leave mine in manual, I'll forget to do it sometimes, and the image will start to deteriorate. So I just leave it in automatic all the time. It's nice leaving it in automatic on this device because it allows you to manually calibrate while it's on automatic, and it will delay the next automatic calibration, which is really nice. So next we have the picture-in-picture mode, which allows you to have a zoomed-in image as well as the wide-angle image at the same time. This can get distracting, and I find this to be superior on rifle scope platforms, but if you need to identify around a group of cows, or if you need to identify some coyotes around a bunch of cows, this is where it proves to be pretty useful. So to wrap this up, the icon brightness, the general settings, the Wi-Fi settings, and the defective pixel repair, which I have not had to use, complete the second page of the menu. And that's pretty much it. Alright, so real quick, I wanted to give you guys an example. These hogs are just over 100 yards away, and this is when you can start seeing the detail in pretty much all animals. They can be identified further back because of the movement pattern and their group size. Here I am about 15 yards away from the camera, and the hogs are about 30 yards away, so this is what they look like, about 40 to 45 yards away. Unfortunately, the clarity is not as good as it could be because the settings weren't perfect, but you get an idea of the distance.
Alright guys, I think that concludes this video. I've pretty much covered just about every single feature that this device has. If you've got any questions or anything at all that you want to talk about, please post up in the comments below and I'll be happy to reply to you. If you liked what you saw in this video, please know that I'm going to be making many more videos like this covering all different kinds of rifle gear equipment, from thermal scopes to night vision scopes to daytime scopes and all of your scope accessories. I'm pretty much going to have it all right here. So if you like this video, please subscribe. This is Justin McWilliams with USA Optics. See you guys next time.